First video, let's go. Ready for this? Camera down, let's go. Alright. Good morning, everybody. We were assigned with the Miranda versus Arizona case, which went through February 28th through March 2, 1966, and it was decided June 13th of that year. So first we'll go over both parties, starting with Ernesto Arturo Miranda.
Back when Miranda was in elementary school, he was known to be a troublemaker. He did not get along with his father after his mother's death. In 8th grade, Miranda got his first criminal conviction. In the following year, in 9th grade, Miranda was convicted of burglary and robbery for a year and sent to reform school. Miranda was working as a laborer in Arizona, where he was arrested on suspicion of kidnapping and raping an 18-year-old woman. Miranda's truck was spotted by the victim's brother, and he reported it to police, where he was then confronted and arrested by the police.
Next up is the police department of Phoenix, Arizona. Once the brother of the victim, Lewis and Jameson, notified the police department, the two officers confronted Miranda. They arrested Miranda and made him part of a police lineup. And after that police lineup, the officers conducted a 2-hour interrogation without informing Miranda of his rights against self-incrimination and due process. The interrogation resulted in a confession by Miranda. This confession occurred after the police had another individual identify Miranda by police. It was only after his confession was signed that Miranda acknowledged his 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights. As for the vote of the justices, this was a 5-4 vote, written by Chief Justice Earl Warren.
Wait, we gotta stop.
Come on,
Because I didn't put the timer on, I forgot.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Alright.
Take it. Let me start it. Okay. Morning, everybody. No, it's afternoon. Good afternoon, viewers. So we did our case on Miranda versus Arizona, which was went through February 28th through March 2nd, 1966, and it was decided on June 13th of that year. So first we'll go over both parties involved in this case, starting with Ernesto Arturo Miranda.
Back when Miranda was in elementary school, he was known to be a troublemaker. He did not get along with his father after his mother's death. Miranda got his first criminal conviction in 8th grade. The following year, in 9th grade, Miranda was convicted of burglary and robbery for a year and sent to reform school. Miranda was working as a laborer in Arizona, where he was arrested on suspicion of kidnapping and raping an 18-year-old woman. Miranda's truck was spotted by the victim's brother and reported it to the police, where they then confronted and arrested Miranda.
Moving on to the Phoenix Police Department. Once the brother of the victim... Let's start this over.
Alright. Pause.
Exactly.
Pause.
Pause. This is
Alright.
fun. Alright, start it.
Ready?
No, you hold it.
Hold it.
Hold the poster
Oh, yeah.
when I introduce it.
3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, everybody. We were assigned with the Miranda versus Arizona case of 1966. It went through February 28th through March 3rd, 1966. No, March 2nd. You started. March.
Alright.
No, Davin's dead. Good afternoon, everybody. We did the Miranda versus Arizona case, which went through February 28th through March 2nd, 1966, which was decided this.
So back when Miranda was in elementary school, he was known to be a troublemaker. He did not get along with his father after his mother's death. Miranda's first criminal conviction was in 8th grade. The following year, in 9th grade, Miranda was convicted of burglary and robbery and sent for a year and sent to a reform school. Miranda was working as a laborer in Arizona, where he was arrested on suspicion of kidnapping and raping an 18-year-old woman. Miranda's truck was spotted by the victim's brother, and he reported it to the police, where he was confronted and arrested by the police.
So the next, the next party was the police department of Phoenix. Once the brother of the victim, Lewis and Jameson, notified the police department, two officers confronted Miranda, and they arrested Miranda and made him part of the police lineup. After this police lineup, these officers conducted a 2-hour interrogation without informing Miranda of his rights against self-incrimination and of due process. The interrogation resulted in a confession by Miranda. This confession occurred after the police had another individual identify Miranda by police. It was only after his confession was signed that Miranda acknowledged his 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights. This was a 5-4 vote from the justices, written by Chief Justice Earl Warren, who ruled that the prosecution could not utilize Miranda's confession as evidence in a criminal trial, given that the police had failed to first inform Miranda of his right to an attorney and against self-incrimination. The 5 justices in favor of excluding Miranda's confession were Chief Justice Earl Warren, Hugo Black, William J. Brennan Jr., Abe Fortas, and Justice William O. Douglas. Right, backside. Background information.
Miranda was arrested at his home and brought into custody, being identified by a complaining witness. Miranda was interrogated by 2 police officers, and it was led to a signed and written confession. Miranda was found guilty in kidnapping, rape, and robbery, and was sentenced to 20 to 30 years in prison. Miranda appealed to the Arizona Supreme Court, claiming that the police unconstitutionally obtained his confession. Regardless, the court disagreed and upheld the conviction. Miranda then appealed to the Court of Arizona that held his constitutional rights being not violated.
Who was against this and why? So the justices dissenting included Justice Tom Clark, Justice John M. Harlan II, Justice Potter Stewart, and Byron White. Justice Clark dissented in part, stating that the majority went too far too fast to require a set of warnings without viewing the totality of the circumstances. Justice Harlan II stated that, quote, "Nothing in the letter or the spirit of the Constitution or in the precedent squares with the heavy-handed and one-sided action that is so precipitously taken by the court in the name of fulfilling its constitutional responsibilities." That's a mouthful. In other words, Justice Harlan II believed that requiring Miranda warnings was more than what the Constitution required. Justice White over here had a similar dissent, stating that there was no constitutional requirement to warn someone of their right against self-incrimination. And for the importance of this case, after the decision, all individuals subject to arrest are now entitled to have the police provide them with a set of Miranda warnings. In fact, Miranda himself would autograph Miranda cards that contain the text of the Miranda warning. And this card reads as follows, and there are 5 parts to the Miranda warning, including a waiver. First, you have the right to remain silent. Second, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Third, you have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you are being questioned. Fourth, if you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed for you. Lastly, you can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. And the waiver is, do you understand each of these rights that I have explained to you? Having these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to us now?
The impact on American society. The precedent was set that those who are suspected of a crime shall not be pressured to confess. Officers shall advise citizens of their 5th Amendment rights prior to questioning them while in custody. In addition, it increased awareness of individuals subject to arrest that held that they did in fact have some rights. Since the decision, there have been a number of subsequent cases that have challenged the ruling in the Miranda case and have allowed confessions to be admissible even though the defendants were not given a complete set of Miranda warnings. So Congress attempted to circumvent the decision by enacting the Omnibus Crime Control and Safe Stress Act of 1968, which attempted to restore the totality of circumstances test to evaluate admissibility to the confessions.
So now we'll discuss whether or not we agree with the decision.
For our initial decision, we both disagreed. Although the language in the Miranda warning is not specifically written verbatim in the Constitution, it is important for anyone who is arrested to be aware of their constitutional rights.
And to add on to that, if they are not made aware of their rights at the time of arrest, there is a danger that police may take advantage of an individual in a weakened state to coerce a confession, which they would not have otherwise been able to obtain had the individual been aware of their constitutional rights against self-incrimination and a right to cancel. And that's it. We got it within 7 minutes.
We're Gucci,
Nice.
bro.
Yeah. That was only like 4 bloopers.
Oh my god. All right, let's say goodbye.
We love you guys.
See you,
This is our
audience.
first
Thank you.
video together.
Catch you guys later.
Hey guys, Daniel here, and my friend Theo just left me, the one who was working with me on that project, and we present that tomorrow, and that's why we were practicing, and for the heck of it, we would just start filming ourselves for the first time, because we're considering developing a YouTube career, and I'm not sure if that's gonna happen at all or not, but That ought to be fun.
My eye is extremely bloodshot.
I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if I make any more YouTube videos at all, then just leave a like, and I will see you in the next video. That's a mouthful.